Alright guys, it is finally time to review my most anticipated film of 2024 and the only MCU film released in 2024, that being none other than Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, I was so excited for this film that I couldn't even put into words how excited I was for this film. Like, my anticipation for this film was something that pretty much nothing else could beat. And I finally got a chance to see it the other day, and the reason that this review didn't come out sooner is because I saw it about a week ago, and then I actually got to see it again just yesterday in the time of filming this. So I've seen it twice now, so I can properly gather my thoughts, and in conclusion, I absolutely love this film so much. But before we do get started, guys, a quick disclaimer: this is completely spoiler free, and if you are going to say any spoilers in the comments, just put a little spoiler warning for the sake of everyone else. And we will be doing a spoiler review and some rankings, all that fun stuff. However, with all that said, let's get started with the good of Deadpool and Wolverine. And I think it's hard to pinpoint the best thing about this film because there's so many great stuff. I think the best thing about this is that it's just so fun. It's a film where you don't care about other stuff. There is story elements which are a bit clunky, but we'll talk about that later. But that kind of just passes your mind because you're having so much fun watching this film. And that's the big appeal of this, is fun. Yes, it has the nostalgia. Yes, it has Deadpool and Wolverine. And it has the cameos. But it offers a lot of fun at the same time. Whether you are someone who has caught up on every single Marvel project since the Fox universe began, or you're literally just beginning in the past few years, you are going to have a fun time with this film. If you've never seen a Marvel film in your life, there is still fun to be had. And I also think that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman share such good chemistry. I mean, this has been a team up they've wanted to do for years now, and for them finally to do it in a good film, not X-Men Origins Wolverine, for them to finally do it here is amazing. They are both a blast to see together, and they share such good chemistry on screen, and they are just unbeatable at the same time. And the way that they kind of distribute their relationship is done in a really special way. I know there's been a lot of anticipation and a lot of predictions on how it's going to work, and it works in both a different way to how we wanted, but also the right way to how we wanted it to be at the same time. And I think another big praise I can give this film is Shawn Levy's eye of this film, because this film is choreographed in the most gorgeous way possible, and the action sequences are some of the MCU's best. It's choreographed in a way which is both visible and fun for the audience to watch, because this is a very gory film. It's brutally violent, and for the first 10 minutes they lay the ground in how it's going to look. And the first fight scene, without saying what it is, looks awesome. You can see what it is. It's not just noise, it's not just colours. I think a big praise of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was that they choreographed it in a way which was viewable to the audience and worked really well. And they kind of bring that over here, and it works so well. And without going into anything, I'm not going to say anything, but the film delivers on what we hoped when it comes to Easter eggs and cameos. It's not another Multiverse of Madness situation. Like, they actually do it. They teased it, they promised it, and they deliver. It doesn't go insane, it's not crazy, but they do it in such a good way, which feels both earned and satisfying at the same time. And it will leave you in tears, but also will leave you with a big gigantic grin on your face. And also, this film actually has such an emotional punch to it. Mostly with Deadpool and Wolverine, Wade and Logan, the way the point in life that they're both at and what they've experienced in their lifetime is presented in a really powerful way. And the Deadpool films have always had a heart to them. And I think this film does that really well as well. The way that we see our characters in this situation, interacting with other characters, the point in life that they're at, actually has a real emotional punch to it. And despite this film being Disney property, this film does not hold off on any of the violence, swearing, anything like that. And there were a few things which Kevin Feige said, you cannot use this in the film. They don't, but they joke about it at the same time. So this film delivers on that at the same time. And also this film has an amazing soundtrack. The soundtrack in this film is brilliant. I absolutely loved it. It's just got beat after beat after beat after beat. And whether you like it or not, I know some people are always mixed on it when films do this. It's a little bit like Guardians of the Galaxy, but they deliver on it. It's funny. It made me laugh. I really enjoyed some of the songs in it. So from there, let's move on to the mixed aspects of the film. And these aren't really good or bad things. These are just things that I feel you might want to know when going into the film. You may want to skip this bit, but there are no spoilers or anything. First one here is, what do you need to watch before Deadpool and Wolverine? And like I said earlier, it's a tricky one because this film is very open to anyone, really. Like, anyone can watch this film and have fun. But the more of Marvel that you've seen, the more you're going to understand and the more fun it's going to be. And you're going to get a better experience from it. So I'm not suggesting you go and do loads of homework. It's not like that. It doesn't expect you to know everything, because it does explain things, but it's definitely helpful at the same time. Also, I'd say if you do want to watch some stuff, I'd say Deadpool 1 and 2 are always good. Logan's pretty helpful. I'd say maybe if you watch the original X-Men trilogy, if you have time for that, that's pretty helpful. I don't really want to say anything else that I suggest you watching because it is just going to give it away. But that's what I would suggest. Another question which I've been asked is kind of, where does the violence and swearing and R rating stand with this film? And I actually think this might be the worst of them all. I actually think this might be the goriest. There are some really brutal scenes in this film that some people aren't going to like, but it's a Deadpool film. Don't take your kids to go see it, because that is not what this film is. I'd say, though, it's more on par with Deadpool 2, because it doesn't have kind of the sexual elements that the first one had, so it doesn't really have any of that. It's just violence and a lot of swearing. This film, I know, has the most swearing out of the two. It's only swearing and violence. I'd say the violence is probably the goriest out of them all. There is some dark scenes. Someone's skin gets peeled off at one bit. There are people getting blown up, ripped to shreds, body parts. There are a lot of different things that do happen in this film, but it depends on where you're at. It's not my decision to make, but they're just two questions that I get asked when I see these type of films, and I like talking about the mixed aspects as well. So from there, let's move on to the bad. And there's not really a whole lot to say about it, because I did just love this film so much. But I'd probably say that the story is weak. It's probably the weakest story, and it comes down to two things. First one is, it doesn't really make sense. There's a lot of things in the lore which they introduce. There's quite a few things which is introduced that could be helpful for the future of the MCU. There's a couple things that are teased, and yeah, it's pretty like, it doesn't always make sense. There are a lot of things where you're like, I don't really know if that adds up if you pull this bit from this film and then have a look at how they've introduced this. It doesn't all make sense, and I feel second time watching that irritated me a little bit more, and it was more noticeable. And second thing is probably the bigger one of the two, and both first and second time did frustrate me a lot, is I just feel that the character motivations aren't quite there. And it's even something which is mentioned in the film itself, but like, we kind of have the emotional story of the first film is Wade with cancer, and that's his motivation to getting rid of that and curing himself. And then the second one is Wade losing Vanessa, and his motivation is through dealing with that, because he tries to kill himself, he tries to end his life, but he can't do that. And it deals with really dark themes. This film's motivations aren't anywhere near as strong. They don't have the emotional side to them, and it just didn't really feel right. It's just the way it's structured and kind of what Wade feels he needs to happen in order to get the better side of it. It's hard to explain, but that's kind of what it is. The motivations just aren't quite right. I know some other people have mentioned about the pacing. I'd say maybe the film does drag a little bit during the later half, but that's pretty much it. This is a fun-filled, action-packed adventure with maybe a story which is on the weaker side and is an afterthought when it comes to the whole multiverse void adventure. But if you are looking for a love letter to both the Fox universe and just the Marvel universe as a whole, a funny, violent, gory adventure with a whole lot of swearing and great cast, this is the film for you. They deliver on the cameos, the Easter eggs, they deliver on everything we hoped it would. So I'm going to give Deadpool and Wolverine at the moment a 9 out of 10. I recommend you do watch this film at the cinema. It's an absolute blast. Hopefully by the time I've uploaded this, it will have hit $1 billion, because I think it's going to very, very soon. Obviously, be careful who's watching this film, because it's not aimed at the youngest of audiences. However, this is an absolute blast of a film. I loved it so much, and I can't wait to see it again and again and again. This film absolutely delivers, and the issues do not change anything. But yeah, guys, that is going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do comment and subscribe, share this with your friends, family. Let me know your thoughts down below on Deadpool and Wolverine. Do put a spoiler review if you are doing spoilers. However, that is all for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.